Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Last time we got ourselves the lovely blast chiller over here. Working so smoothly before for me in the in-between episodes and at the end of the last one. These two in conjunction have definitely sped up the crafting of a lot of the things I've needed to finish this up. I'm sadly looking at it like we don't really have much left. We got to get ourselves just a few things here. I think, honestly, the furthest thing away is this. Of course, because it's the last thing, but at the same time, like, I don't know how ready we are for that. I'm going to go ahead and try to see where we're at as we have added ourselves an additional HPCA. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4 for a grand total through our network switch. 144 CWU per tick. That is the amount that we actually need to be able to research the ultimate battery once we get to that point. But we first need to get ourselves the UHV hatch, as you cannot research the ultimate battery unless you are researching with UHV power. I don't know if this is only for the research station, which I might test that out. But if it's not, then it's not. So let's get going with the hatch part here, because honestly, it's one of those things. I think we're sucking out how much? What is this going to the mixer? So that'll be 1. So yeah, we have 16 attached to that. We got 4. So yeah, we got plenty more if we just want to do a transformer to get it to that. If that works that way. If not, then we're going to have to figure something else out, because that's not going to work. In the meantime, we can actually go ahead and look at starting up one of these batteries here so we can get ourselves a new, what are they called? Capacitors, to be able to help facilitate our construction, or not construction, your research into the ultimate battery, because it's also going to require a lot of energy. So let's go ahead and do 2 of those, because we're also going to need one for the research station to research the battery. But it's awesome to see this thing go lightning fast, even though it's flickering through the Naquata one at a time. It is lightning fast on that. Have set this up to not be bothered to run too much more. I do actually have some neutronium turbines, which I would like to get swapped over. The only thing as issue that I can see with that is I don't think these by-4 dynamo hatches are going to work. I think I'm going to have to switch to a by-4 UV. UV, we even have a, we do. Means we're also going to have to swap out cables and our inputs, all of the above. So let's go ahead and get some of those prepped up. And as you might be able to have noticed, I did get the universal terminal, adding in our pattern maker here so that we can actually do stuff with that. So we just need to grab out our energy hatch, do a use for that, and we want to make ourselves the by-4. And that should be plenty there. We just need to throw that into an assembler. Just like that. And we should be able to grab out... We're going to need 2 of those. Actually, let's see. Can I get the use of that, and we'll do the next one. There we go. We'll do 1 of those so that we can wire in both of the reactors into one thing. So let's do 1 of the 16. And then 2 of the by-4 dynamos. That will work just fine. In the meantime, one of the other things we're going to want to start crafting an absolute ton of is neutronium, as we need neutronium blocks for one of the recipes that I would like to get it done, even though it doesn't do anything. The certification of not being a noob anymore. So let's look at blocks of Neutronium. If I go ahead and say 128, because that's the amount I need. Oh, I have nowhere near enough lanthanum. Where do I get that from? What if I did 32? Can we do 32 to start? And how much is that really going to be? That's going to be 288 neutronium and all of the lanthanum that I've got. And not enough crafting space. So 16? Can I do is oh wait. I'm using the big ones, that's why. Because we're still crafting up our batteries. I did want to go see how well that actually kind of goes through, considering we've got so many different moving parts for all of these machines anymore. Crafting up. Oh my goodness, that is a lot of different things. Melting. Butadiene styrene rubber. Indium gallium phosphate. And these are just for... Oh, this is for the... This is for the by 16 energy hatch, so this is not even the one that's getting the most attention. I think this one is our batteries. Yeah. Well, while that's going, I'm sure there's something else I can find to do in the meantime. I guess we can look up where we get ourselves some of that lanthanum at. Need lanthanum. I'm pretty sure that's one of those rare earth metal things that we only get from... Yeah, so we get the rare earth from the neodymium monazite dust, which, how do we get that one again? A neodymium, well, monazite vein is where we get that stuff from. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be... It's gonna be a long one. I guess on the bright side, we can go check our thing out in the nether. Ooh. It is kind of crazy how quickly all of this stuff is unfolding. I'm not doing beryllium. I did start it up somewhere, and I don't remember where I started it up at. I know it was within Vision over here. Oh, no, it's not in here. It's out in the overworld. Now I remember. I was mining pyrochlore because it was one of the ways to get, what's it called? Neodymium? So, it is actually over here. We can actually check up on its progress right now. I don't think we really care to get much more of this, to be honest. Especially since I got it because I went and I mined stuff in the end to be able to go get it from there. So we're just going to go ahead and pop this all off there and move it to somewhere else. We're going to go back to the end and find a monazite vein, as we are going to need lots of those rare earth metals. I guess one thing to check, do we have any? We have tons of rare earth to go through as well. And that's a centrifuge recipe, so I guess one way we can start on it is we can go ahead and grab a pipe. What we got here? Let's get ourselves out. I have a conveyor here. I'm going to put it right on the bottom there. And then change it to import. And then we'll go ahead and put our rare earth right there. We'll start getting our rare earth. It should go around the back and start packaging up. And as it packages up, it'll move it on through the system to get it where it goes. Where it needs to go anyways. Which, that'll work swimmingly for us. I don't think that's a good thing to put in there because I don't think it's going to actually compress those down. Despite the fact that it should have enough to do so. does a metal mixture give us? I don't think it gives us any more rare earth. Yeah, no, none of the stuff that I'm looking for, so that is fine to stay in there. Calcite, soda ash, yep. So now we're at least processing our rare earth as we can get some in. And now we can go get the monazite to get the rare earth. I don't know where else it comes from. It's got to be coming from something else that I'm like... Neodymium is one of them. Yes, and redstone. That's what it was, redstone. All that redstone processing I've been doing has yielded all of that special earth. But now we can go and do something to get ourselves the exclusive amount, so we'll be able to make plenty of neutronium. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and check our veins. I feel like there's one, yeah, right close by. So now we just got to mark... I'll go waypoint. Where is that at? I think it should be right behind us. Yeah, it is. Right there. Now we just got to mine, or not mine, but work our way over there. Dig out an area for us to place it at. And we'll go up. And make sure we're right over that vein. Anyway, basically, anyways. I did want to make sure that we're also inside of the chunk, so this one's a little bit far. We do have the monazite vein. So if we place it right up against the chunk border there, we should be good. So right here should be... Yeah, we're right in the chunk there, so we can be able to build it out just the way that it is here. Input. Then we want our casings. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Create the mine out above it. 3. And a little bit more around. Where's that lava? Ditch that stuff though. Boom. And then, boom. We have those pieces. Build up our sides, make sure it's on chunk mode, and then we'll set up our power distribution into it. Right there. And now we have ourselves 1, 2, 3, and 4. These out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Snip those wires together, just like we've always done every single time. It was a little bit weird doing this, considering I've done this part off camera so much, but we're waiting for those batteries and stuff. I figured give you something that goes back and calls back to the previous stuff we've done. Oh, I honestly never thought I'd be digging for this kind of stuff, but lo and behold, once you get to the end of the pack, you might as well start digging for everything, right? Don't really care to those stuff. We'll just leave those there. And now we just got to set up our fluid and item links. So right there. This one's going to be macerated ore. Looks like this one is full right now too. Import. We need ourselves the drilling fluid. And then we need ourselves our nitrobenzene. And now we got a minor problem. I forgot to not chunk load the other thing. So I think we're going to have to do with going to go get the other thing unloaded so we can re-chunk load this thing. Because we do need that working for our badge that we want to get later. Nice and quick. And back to the nether to go reactivate that spot, and then we can come right back through one more time. Ooh, boy. Alright, now it's time to go check up on our research. So that should be done by this point in time. And just hope that nothing overheated. It looks like we're good. And we got our UHV energy hatch research. Before we start it again, I want to check how much coolant we have before we go into it, because I don't want to be... Okay, we should be plenty for this next research. I still want to run out in the middle of the research and have everything die and not have the materials to replace it. So let's go ahead and get that in there. And our data information inside of our thing there. Now, everything is taking quite a bit of time to get done. We did want to go ahead and check up on that. Oh boy. That's why it's a lot of europium it's got to go through. Europium titanium wires. Is there something not working? Bird, it's working off. Oh no, we're just making that much is what it is, I think. Or maybe? Why is it acting like we're out of power or something? There's no way we should be out of power. Is it we're not able to supply enough throughput? That's filling back up. So is that. These are all functioning. So, like, did something turn off? These turned off. Why did these turn off? They run out of power? I think maybe they did, but a little bit weird that they ran out of power, but nothing else on that line did. Alright, well, I'm going to run around making sure everything's still working, and I will be back when we have our batteries or when the research is done of the other module. Alrighty there, it looks like we've got all of the things I asked it to craft up. I was kind of silly not thinking about the fact that all of those are going to require the same machine, so it just was not going to work out the way I thought it was going to. Now, I do want to go ahead and get these things set up to switch over. We'll let those go ahead and continue to power while we actually get the other things we need. So the first thing I do need another one up is we need a data module. Not this one, though. We need this. I accidentally stuffed that into the auto crafter instead of back into the machine it belongs in. So now we are able to make both of those. We're making ourselves a data module. I think the only other thing we're going to need to look at doing is we need ourselves a transformer. Ooh, just messed that up. Well, fat fingering buttons there. Transformer. We need one of these ones. So let's make one of these. And then the other part that we're going to need after that is our UHV energy. So let's go ahead and do that. UHV energy hatch. Going to need one of those. Which it is saying we are going to have to craft up some neutronium for that. So we're going to let the other ones finish out first. Got our data module. We got our energy cluster. And while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and actually craft up our capacitor. Bank number 3. Which that itself also requires neutronium stuff, so that's going to be a minute on that too. Gonna see a couple of those things tick off. But now we just need to get our data module in here with that, and then we're just gonna need our power. I'm guessing that we only need the power into this thing to be what we're looking for. I guess in the meantime, I would like to get these things here shut off. So let's shut these down for a second so that they can start powering down. Despite the fact that they're turned off, these things are still moving, and until they stop moving, they're still generating power, and I cannot pull them out. So we'll let that do its thing. We've got ourselves the transformer now. Wait on that neutronium. Hope that that's working. Let's go check in the overworld. I really should bring some of those crackers over here so I can see them better. So it looks like we're making americum, silicone, luteum. Yeah, so we're just making the preliminaries for it. And then it'll do the 11 ingots worth that it needs for that. So that is fine. So glad that I didn't start doing those blocks already. Yeah, we're good. Okay. I guess we should go out to the back over here and get this ready for that. So one thing we're going to want is we're going to need a bypass for this thing. So where is our... I already have it in our inventory. So we need to work on a little bit of a bypass. So I think we're going to go around the back here. Oh, no. That wasn't supposed to happen. Your casing right there. Ugh. Okay, so we're going to go there. Going to go there, and then we'll go wire it together there in the back. But then we need to break that one. We'll snip off the connection from one end. And we should be good to go out back and wire that connection around. Just like so. And we'll go ahead and dump those in there. Now we're going to be able to go ahead, pull out the UV energy hatch. Oh no. Oh no. This is why you turn your drill down. Oh boy. Got a reception hatch. I can't believe I did that. Now I gotta re-look up how to make that thing, because I think it's just advanced computer casings. Do we have any in the middle? So it is essentially is T-shape with surrounding 1, 3, 1, 2, 3 T-shape. And then I guess right there. Let's go the other block. So we go down, down, get ourselves this. And then is it the backside that's got the heat vent? Or... hold on. No, the heat vent goes around. Got it. So... there. There. Break. Oh no, that was right. No, now we're just wasting time. And then fighting against all the water that I decided to put down here. So all of those are heat vents. 3, 1, 2, 3, and 7. And we need our power hatch there. Gotta leave that open, and if I could just get myself out the door, get me out. Oh. Now we put that there, that there. 1, 2. Just need the UHV. What did it finish? No, the other thing did, though. What was the other thing? Oh, the transformer. That's right. So now we just need a UHV energy hatch. Let's not throw that, because we don't want that thrown into the void. I am fat fingering all sorts of buttons. We're going to have a problem if that keeps going. But we're waiting on the capacitor, that's right. I think we're on to doing our neutronium, which means actually should be done here fairly shortly. Especially if it's going back to luteum again. Nope. Ooh, boy. Started that too soon. I guess we'll be back when these are finished. Alright, there we got our UHV energy hatch. Finally crafting up after quite some time. But that will free up the opportunity to finally put this thing to the test and see if we can actually start researching that battery here. But, still waiting on the hull to finish up, so we're kind of waiting on the neutronium to get that new battery cell. Once this thing finishes, we can look at trying to get the materials ready for that last and final battery. I can actually as well, ooh. I guess what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pop this stuff off quick. We want to... Ooh, I'm glad that was... Whoa, no, 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 no. I have not fallen through that space before. That was a little bit sad. Like, I have a jetpack. I don't know why I panicked so much, but... Oh, we're going to need to reapply those here in a second. There. Guess we could place that there. We've got... Take our dynamos out there. Place the UV dynamos. Get our neutronium. Now, turn off. You're not supposed to be on. We got our cables to come through. And 1, 2, 4. Down 1, 3, and there. And now just wire them into there. And those are done, so we'll now switch them out for our neutronium turbine casings. And let's go ahead and fire them up. So it looks like our max power, yeah, that would have just crested what we could actually output with that. Because, actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, for sure. For sure it would crest that. Sweet. Actually, it might have been just perfectly enough, but I don't want to test that out and find out that I was wrong. So we're going to go ahead and rewire this up. Be able to shut it off and get ourselves on over here to figure out getting that system wired up in the back there. UV energy hatch there. Our transformer right here. And then we need to orient that to be facing block there. And we need our rubber mallet, I believe. Is that right? No. We need a screwdriver. Screwdriver. I always forget that difference between the two with the diode. But there is that. And that is now processing out the final research we really got to do here of the UHV battery. Now all that's left to do is craft up 16 more of those so we can actually craft that thing. So, yes, I can start that as soon as this thing's done. How much more neutronium do we got to get done? I guess we got quite a bit still. I do want to set up and enable at least one of these batteries. Although maybe it's better for me just to shoot straight for that UHV battery at this point. With how much these cost. Awesome. And that finishes up that. How much? It's all still functioning. How are we on coolant? We got plenty. Probably more than enough that we don't even need to be crafting anymore for the mod pack. This is exciting to see. What keeps shutting it down? Is it not getting enough power? It's like insufficient something or other. Is it not getting enough voltage to its stuff, or... insufficient inputs. Are we having power issues? We're running out of power in those spots. That is precisely the problem. Not surprised. Not surprised. Thinking of maybe having to upgrade these laser hatches at some point. But that will do its thing in time, so I guess we're good, especially since it's already almost done. I think we're pretty close with the neutronium stuff too. Ooh, a little bit further out. 3 more ingots worth. Not even quite that. 2.5-ish. Well, we will be back with one last... Oh, wait, what? The screen does something? I didn't even know this screen did something. But yeah, we'll be back when that thing over there is finished. So, we're back again. Alright, it's been much longer than it should have taken because I found out this thing was off again because I ran out of power. Basically, the laser hatches are not enough to sustain power to everything in the manner that we needed to, but we finally got our tier 3 capacitor bank. And now, all that's left is to stuff it into our EV canner here with the energy cluster there. Voltage tier 2 low. I thought... I guess we need a new canner. An IV one at that. Don't think I have an IV canner, but I might. Get an assembler, polarizer. So, no. Let's look at getting one of those. Oh, I do. Right there. Okay. Now we just needed to have power. Which... we don't need this thing anymore. So let's pop it on right there. And now we can pop in our capacitor bank and a single one of those. And get ourselves the one and only of these that I'm probably going to craft up. Considering that the other thing that finished up is our research for the ultimate battery. Which means we are ready to craft the final thing of the mod pack. Oh! No, we're not ready to do the final thing, but we do want ourselves a quantum star. Not quantum star, what are they called? Star. Gravistar. See if we can get one of those started and hold on out. Because that was one of the other things I wanted to make sure we got. But this now can contain 96 billion EU. Whereas currently, that not quite doubles, but that definitely increases the amount of EU we can hold by quite a bit. We're going to go ahead and pop this open and stuff it on inside. Place our laminated glass back over. And there we got it. 256 billion 500 million EU can be stored. Yes, the other thing I would want to look at. Passive drain of 1,484 EU per tick. That's quite a hefty one, but producing over 1 million, storing 256 billion power. That's pretty nice. Basically, at this point, the only thing that could hold us back is transmission speeds. So, which it quite literally is the problem. But, oh, I just realized those gravity stars are going to need some neutronium. So I guess we're going to have to leave that for next time, because we are already at a, 40-minute mark here. Wait. You didn't already craft them, did you? And I will end up pulling that out off camera after this, so... But we are nearly finished. There is quite literally just... I like how it says it will finish it with either or, but it doesn't finish. It says 50% complete. But yeah, we just quite literally have the battery and some of these creative ME energy cells. And we'll have crafted the entirety of the progression tree stuff. Pretty wild. Anyways, we'll have to be back later. Get that stuff done, as that's going to probably take a full night and day to be able to actually craft that stuff up for it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Bye!